Well, that was a pretty gross performance by the Tennessee Volunteers, and there's really not another way to put it. Josh Heupel after the game saying that it was an extremely disappointing second half specifically, and it would be nice to say that this was a game of two halves, but there were certainly signs and cracks in the first half that just extended into the second half. Vanderbilt really able to make the correct adjustments and really capitalize where Tennessee was weak in the second half and just absolutely blew this game out of the water. 45-24 is your final. Vanderbilt gets a 10-win season, and Tennessee loses its third game at home, which they've not lost that many games at home since the 2021 season. And where I'm saying that it would be nice for us to be able to walk away saying, it was a really great first half, but that second half, Vanderbilt just got the best of them. You could look at Tennessee specifically on offense, right? 3 of the 4 drives for Tennessee on offense that started by a kickoff or punt ended in a kickoff or punt. Thank goodness for Tennessee's defense being able to get those 2 takeaways in the first half that gave the Volunteers extra possessions on offense. And thankfully, Tennessee was able to do something it had rarely done at a consistent rate this season, and that's play complementary football. And Tennessee was able to go and turn those 2 turnovers into 14 points on offense, and that's what kept this game close. But you could look specifically to the middle eight. I would really even more so look to that third quarter. But Tennessee lost the middle eight in this game. Vanderbilt did what they needed to do to close out the first half, get a touchdown, and then they immediately go and get a touchdown drive to start the second half. What does Tennessee do to start the first and second half? They get a 3-and-out to start the game, and then they get a 3-and-out to start their second half effort. And Josh Heupel says that there wasn't any sign in the locker room or even towards the end of first half that would indicate that this team is lacking effort. But they couldn't have come out more flat in the second half. You could look to Vanderbilt, and their 2 drives, about 11 minutes is what their 2 drives took to start the second half that both ended in touchdowns. It was like 11 and a half minutes. 4 or 5 drives, depending on which ones you want to pinpoint to in the first half, equaled 10 and a half or 11 minutes. So they absolutely found a way to manipulate the clock. There were a lot more run plays in the second half, and that's what gashed Tennessee. On Vanderbilt's opening drive of the second half, there was like 11 plays. 6 were rushing attempts, and Diego Pavia was a key reason why Vanderbilt was able to have success on the ground in the second half, and he proved in this game why he leads the Commodores in rushing yards. All week long, Josh Heupel had talked about how they are really trying to pinpoint ways to limit Diego Pavia when it comes to his ground game, because he does so much, whether it is in RPOs or it's those fakes, it's the play actions. The way that he is able to extend plays, whether on rollouts or just on quarterback scrambles, makes him a very dangerous quarterback. And where he is dangerous kind of killed Tennessee in this game. And while Tennessee had success in the first half, we could specifically look to how they really kind of stifled him a little bit in the pass game. I mean, Diego Pavia threw like 5 drives. I think he already had like 200 yards. So when you hear guys like Idris Farouk say, oh, we played amazing in the first half, I guess relatively to the poor performance the defense and offense had in the second half. But overall, I mean, this is a Tennessee defense that only gives up about 250 yards a game through the air, and they gave up just about that in the first half. But again, the chaos of the Tennessee defense, they come up and they make plays when they're supposed to, and that's what slowed down Diego Pavia for the most part before he exploded in the second half. It was a crucial interception that Idris Farouk had in the beginning of the first half, and Ty Redmond, Johnny on the spot, really able to maximize the turnover that Idris Farouk had when it got dislodged. It was not a forward pass or pitch, and able to take that about 15 more yards. And where Ty Redmond continues to grow, right? Josh Heupel says that it wasn't a light bulb moment. He just is very intentional in how he practiced. Idris Farouk echoed that sentiment, saying that like he takes every rep in practice like a game rep, and that's the key right there. We talk about what has been so disappointing about this team. We've heard that phrase from Josh Heupel one too many times this season, and we've seen one too many gross performances by this Tennessee team one too many times. I asked Joey Aguilar why that is, why they struggle to find some level of consistency, right? I think at some point you can get behind an okay team when that's just kind of who they are, but when you see a lot of highs and lows, and you can see how good a team can be, and they just struggle to find a level of consistency to continue to meet their standard, that gets incredibly frustrating. And Joey Aguilar said it really comes down to practice. Practice translates to game reps, and he says sometimes we just don't consistently have that certain level of intensity that we need in practice, and that's contributing to maybe some lackluster games. We saw it against New Mexico State, where they have 300 some passing yards against Tennessee, and Josh Heupel said there was a day or so where we didn't have the competitive edge. They go down and take care of Florida in the Swamp. Who cares how horrible Florida is? It's still tough to get wins. I mean, Tennessee couldn't do it here at home tonight or even look relatively competitive in the second half, and Josh Heupel and Joey credit the team's practice habits and their competitive spirit throughout the week. So does that say that maybe they were losing some of that? Maybe did they take Vanderbilt as seriously as they needed to? Should they have watched maybe different film to get them up for this game? But that's what Joey says is contributing for this team's inconsistency. And, for a Tennessee defense that continues to have its struggles throughout the entire season at a consistent rate, that's about the only consistent thing on this team, is that the Tennessee defense is going to give people headaches. There are some serious questions that will probably carry into the offseason and maybe even into the bowl season for Tennessee. But they've got to find a way moving forward to not only, as the cliche goes, capitalize on the details, work on the little things, and we can't continue to beat ourselves. Those are things that I think a lot of us are tired of hearing them say, and you need to graduate to a new level where you're not getting in your own way, whether in practice or whether in games, and maybe it's personnel changes, maybe it's getting in the portal or recruiting different guys so that this team can reach its standard, reach its potential, because we've heard one too many times, like I've said, one too many times, this is a team that has very much underachieved what their potential and what their ceiling could have been. So we'll see where they end up in the bowl season as they get ready to turn their attention to their postseason and try to get 9 wins on the season. But what are your all's thoughts following this game? How would you describe Tennessee's performance today? We'll be back Sunday with more of a recap on this game, and then on Monday when we get ready for Tennessee men's and women's basketball. So make sure your notifications are on so you don't miss out on anything happening here at Full Disclosure. I'll talk to you guys later.